So a man left a comment on one of my recent videos that struck with me. He said, I know what to do, I just can't seem to pull the trigger. And I think a lot of men are sitting in that exact place. See, they've heard about keto, they've watched the videos, they probably even know what they should do, but they haven't been able to pull the trigger. And when you look closer, a lot of people who say they tried keto never actually pulled the trigger at all. So let me ask you something. Did you actually try keto? Let me tell you about a moment that still sticks with me. In June of 2019, I was about 10 months into my ketogenic journey. And by that point, I had already lost around 100 pounds of fat and water. And I was working out at Orange Theory. Now, for those that don't know, Orange Theory Fitness is a high intensity interval training class. It's a 1 hour workout split into three parts. You have treadmill work, you have rower, and you have dumbbell and body weight training. It's a 1 hour workout split into three parts: treadmill work, rowing, and dumbbell or body weight training. They also track what they call benchmarks, things like rowing distances, a 12-minute run for distance, a 1 mile run for time, amongst other things. And that day we were doing the 1 mile benchmark. Now, I wasn't chasing a specific goal. I was just trying to keep on improving my numbers. But when the run ended and I looked down at the screen, I realized something. I had just run a mile in under 8 minutes at the age of 49 years old. That's the first time I had done that in over 30 years. And my first thought was simple. I basically, oh yeah, I just finally hit a huge milestone. But here is the interesting thing. When I tell people that changing how I eat played a huge role in starting that journey, I hear the same things over and over again. Keto is dangerous, right? Keto doesn't work, or I tried keto. And that always makes me want to ask the simple question, well, did you actually try keto? Or did you try keto-ish? Because a lot of what people call trying keto looks something like this. They still drink carb-heavy drinks, things like beer, sugary cocktails, soda. They're still consuming those hidden carbs and foods that they think that are healthy. And sometimes quitting after a couple of weeks because they feel terrible during what people call the keto flu. Gentlemen, that's not really keto. That's keto with one foot still in your old lifestyle. And honestly, a lot of people never even get that far. They hesitate before they even start, which brings us back to that comment. I know what to do, I just can't pull the trigger. Now, most of the time, that hesitation comes down to three things. Barrier number one is fear, specifically the fear that keto is somehow dangerous. And I understand where that comes from. See, for decades, we've been told things like red meat is dangerous, saturated fat is dangerous, cholesterol is dangerous. So when someone hears about keto, their first thought is, what if this diet actually hurts me? But for me, keto meant something very simple. I went from eating a lot of processed food to eating mostly whole foods, meat, eggs, vegetables, and some low glycemic fruits like berries. I'm talking blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, and strawberries. Real food. Now, personally, I find it hard to believe that eating real food is somehow more dangerous than what I was eating before. But honestly, Fear usually isn't the real reason people hesitate. The second barrier is social friction. See, food isn't just nutrition. It's culture, it's family, it's a social life. Changing how you eat can mean explaining choices to your friends, handling family dinners differently, sometimes even having your spouse question what you're doing. And I've had Thanksgiving gatherings where my lack of enthusiasm for the carb heavy portions of the meal became the topic of discussion. Uh, and but at some point, my mindset around food completely changed. I started seeing food as nutrition first and pleasure second. Now, that doesn't mean food can't taste good, but the purpose of eating changed for me. And that shift can make people extremely uncomfortable. The third reason is much simpler. People don't want to give up certain foods. We're talking bread, pasta, ultra sweet hybridized fruits, beer, sodas, things like Coca Cola and Pepsi. And honestly, that's a very human response because pulling the trigger on a lifestyle change means letting go of habits and addictions that feel normal. But here's the interesting part. When I started keto, I actually had an advantage. I didn't know much about it. My doctor suggested it. And instead of debating it for months in my head, I just did it. I kept my carbohydrates below about 50 grams per day. Now, that doesn't mean I was perfect. I made mistakes along the way, but I stayed consistent, and the results started showing up. The transformation. The fat started coming off. My energy levels went up. I eventually I started getting active again. I first started going back to martial arts. Then in early 2019, I joined Orange Theory. Now that led to the mile I told you about earlier. But see, the journey didn't stop there. A few months ago, I pulled my first 500-pound deadlift. And I can honestly say something I never expected to say. I am stronger at 55 than I was at 35. So if you're the guy who wrote that comment, the one who said, I know what to do, I just can't pull the trigger, I understand that because pulling the trigger means change. It means doing something different from the people around you. But here's the thing. You don't need perfect knowledge. You don't need the perfect plan. You just need an honest start. See, for me, keto opened the door, but I still had to walk through it. Now, what came after that was energy, strength, and a life I didn't expect to rebuild in my 50s. I am healthier today than I was 10 years ago. Now, that doesn't mean I'm invincible. None of us are. But I've given myself better odds. Better odds to staying strong. Better odds to living longer. Better odds to enjoy the things that matter the most, like watching future grandchildren grow up, like traveling with my wife, living life instead of slowly shrinking away from it. Because here's something that I believe very strongly. There is no downside for a man to become physically stronger, metabolically healthier, or spiritually fortified at any age. None. So, if you're sitting there thinking, I know it, I know what to do, I just haven't pulled the trigger yet. Maybe today is the day you start. Not perfectly, just honestly. And if this video helped you think about things differently, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I am going to talk about ketogenic living, strength training, and rebuilding health as men get older. And if you're ready to take that first step, gentlemen, you already know what to do. Now it's just a matter of deciding when you're going to pull the trigger.